Hey, what's up guys? Hockety Hawk here, and welcome to my channel where everything is about the finals. Today I got a bunch of tips and tricks for you guys, so let's jump right in. So this first one's probably the most important one, and it's a settings change. Pay attention to the blue target over there, and what we're going to be doing is go to our settings, video, and change our FOV to 100. And then also turn off lens distortions, which makes the edges of your screens look weird. Now back in game, notice how much more of the game world we can see, and this is going to give you a huge edge over your competition. So our next tip is a way to make these canisters and barrels a lot more effective. As you can see, there's quite a long delay before they actually go off. So what we can do is plant some explosives on them and then detonate it as soon as it hits our target. So our next tip is going to help you improve your slide. If you slide and just tap the slide button, you can see you only go a short amount of distance. But if you hold down the slide button during the entire duration of the distance, you go almost twice the distance. And so because of this, I actually changed my slide button from hold to now toggle. So now when sliding, I just have to tap it once and I'm always going to go the maximum distance. And then if you are using toggle for slide, you can still cancel it mid-slide by tapping the button once more. Our next tip is also going to involve movement, and it deals with vaulting. As you can see, when you're standing still and jumping, you can't vault to this next floor. But if you have momentum while moving, you can always vault to the next floor above you. So our next tip is one that I've learned over many deaths, and it involves sprinting through doors. So if you're sprinting straight at a door, the door will automatically open without having to press the open or close key. But if you're sprinting at the door from an angle, it won't always open, and you can see we're still sprinting. And so because of this, I highly recommend never relying on the door to open automatically and just get used to pressing it every single time. And our next tip is, just because you can't see through a window doesn't mean you can't jump through it. All of the green windows you see here can be broken. From the outside, you can't sprint through it. You have to melee to get in, or if you're on the inside, you can just sprint straight through it. Our next tip is a really big one, and it's to hold down the tab button mid-game to see when your enemies are dead. You can see the skull by their name, and their name is grayed out. This is extremely helpful when playing the objectives because you can time and know when your enemies are coming by seeing when they're dead. So our next one is another really big one. If you're looking at an enemy and press the ping button, you can actually mark them while they're in view. This is extremely helpful for your team so everybody knows exactly where the enemy is. Our next tip is going to involve a lot of the gadgets such as the RPG or the stun gun you see here. After you fire it, it's going to have a recharge time before you can pull it out again. You can see it's almost done fully charging on the right side, and now that it's fully recharged, I can now pull it out again, but I have to also still reload it before I can fire it at an enemy. This is something you want to keep in mind at all times so you don't pull out an empty gun you plan to shoot at an enemy. Another great tip involves these zip lines that we'll find throughout the world. You can shoot them to destroy them to prevent enemies from chasing you or to better protect an objective. For our next tip is that it's almost always better to pick up your teammate and move them to a safe location before trying to revive them in the open. And then if you didn't know, when holding a dead teammate, you can left click to yeet them or right click to just drop them where they are. Alright, so that's all the tips that I have for you guys today. If you found these helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.
Let him sing it.
Holy shit.